Hello, I'm librarian Josh Cohen, and welcome to this video on book research using interlibrary loan and WorldCat. Book research is quite important in the field of literary studies. This is because much of the scholarly literature in the field is contained in book format. When conducting literary research, you might find that using article resources alone is not sufficient to gather all of the important resources on a particular author. In this video, I'm going to talk about situations in which you might want to consider using interlibrary loan to gain access to important book resources in literature, specifically British Romantic literature for this video. I'll use the example of 19th century British Romantic poet and novelist Letitia Elizabeth Landon as the focus for my research. She happens to be one of the authors covered in Dr. Webster's Revolutions and Romanticism British Literature course. Landon is a lesser-known Romantic writer, and there is less material on her in the library than on other more famous and influential Romantic poets like William Wordsworth, as one example. The library doesn't have too many books or ebooks on Landon, but that doesn't mean I can't find any book sources that focus on her or her work. To find a recommended book title, I could look for the bibliography in a reference resource. In this case, when I say reference resource, I'm primarily talking about encyclopedia articles. We have scholarly encyclopedia articles in a variety of databases, including Credo. I'm going to go to the databases by clicking on Databases and Articles. I'm going to go to the C's, and I will find Credo down here. Credo is an interdisciplinary reference resource database, and some of our literary databases also contain reference articles that would be useful when researching literature. For this example, I'll use Credo, but you could use any reference resource you like for this process. Searching for Letitia Elizabeth Landon in Credo, I retrieve a number of scholarly encyclopedia and dictionary entries. The first two entries are very short and not likely to include a bibliography of recommended resources, but the third one, from the Encyclopedia of the Romantic Era, tells me that it has over 1,200 words, and that looks like it could be a promising entry. Looking at this entry, I can see that it gives me a decent overview of Landon's life and career, as well as a short bibliography of recommended resources here at the bottom. One of these is a book resource titled Slipshod Sibyls, Recognition, Rejection, and the Woman Poet. While it doesn't appear to focus exclusively on Landon, when using a book source, I never plan to use the entire book. I'm looking only for a relevant chapter or maybe a couple relevant chapters or sections from a chapter in the book. My first step after finding this recommended book source would be to search for it either in Quick Search or in the book catalog. I prefer the catalog myself, so that's where I'm going to search. I'm going to copy this title and paste it into the library catalog search box to see if we have it. As you can see here, it looks like we don't have access to this book either in print or in ebook format, so I could just use the bibliographic information to request it in interlibrary loan. If you haven't used interlibrary loan before, it is a free service that our library provides for you to help you gain access to resources that our library doesn't currently have in our collections. I'm going to go ahead and log into Iliad or interlibrary loan. I've got my username and then my password entered. If I know what specific book chapter I want, then I can request that chapter and receive it fairly quickly as a PDF. Going up here to New Requests, I would select Book Chapter for that option. However, for this book, I don't know the relevant chapter, so I'll have to order the entire book. Select Book here, and then I only have to fill out the required categories here of title and author. However, the more information you can give us about the book, the easier it will be for us to find it. You can also add notes if you need to add any special notes. When you request a book via interlibrary loan, it's going to come in print from another library, so it could take anywhere from a few days to a week or more, depending on where it's coming from. A good resource to use when searching for books that the library does not have is WorldCat. WorldCat stands for World Catalog, and it essentially searches for the availability of books or other resources like DVDs from libraries around the country and around the world. You can access WorldCat from our database list under W or directly by going to worldcat.org. If I search for Slipshod Sybil's Recognition, Rejection, and the Woman Poet in WorldCat, I can find out if any libraries have the book, as well as where those libraries are located. After doing this search, I find that the first record here is the item I'm looking for, and this is the print book that I want, not an ebook version. And I'm going to click on the title. And I can see here that the closest library that owns this title is at the University of Delaware, which isn't too far away, so I know I should be able to get this book fairly quickly. From this record, I can use WorldCat to help me make my interlibrary loan request. In order to do this, I'll click View Access Options, and then I'll see the Request Item through Interlibrary Loan link. And clicking on that link will take me to the Interlibrary Loan page. I will then log into Interlibrary Loan, and then you will see that the information for the book pops into the request form automatically, and all I have to do is scroll down to the bottom and hit the Submit button, and then I'm good to go. Also, if you want to do a broad search for all the books available on Letitia Elizabeth Landon, you could do a subject search in WorldCat. In order to do this, first I'm going to click on the Advanced Search button here on the right. Then I'm going to choose Subject in the field on the left here. Then I'll type in Letitia Elizabeth Landon's name. Then under Format, I'm going to change that to Print Book. Then I can do my search. And I come up with 96 results. You should be able to see if the item is available at Elizabethtown College, but if it isn't, you're very welcome to order it from Interlibrary Loan. That's the end of this video on book research using Interlibrary Loan and WorldCat. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at cohenjp@etown.edu, or you can email the library at ask@etown.libanswers.com.